The 2010 Queens Championship featured a collection of some of the most familiar names in women's bowling. And with defending champion Kelly Kulick knocked out in an early round, this year's Queens title is up for grabs. Now celebrating 50 years as one of the remaining majors. This is the USBC Queens, and it starts now. You're looking at Kim Terrell-Kearney, a Hall of Famer and already owner of one Queens Championship tonight. She seeks her second Queens tiara. 2, how about 3 tiaras? That's what Wendy MacPherson has. Tonight she tries to become the first woman ever to win the USBC Queens 4 times. We welcome you inside the On-Center Complex in Syracuse, New York for the 2011 USBC Queens in a bit of television history. The first HD broadcast of women's bowling ever. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Lamont. Thank you very much for joining us. We promise you a great show every year. We think we're going to deliver again. If you followed bowling over the years, you love that traditional stepladder format. That's what we've got tonight. Let's meet our final 5.
Hi, I'm your number 5 qualifier, Wendy MacPherson from Henderson, Nevada.
And in the first match, she gets to take on me, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi from Sandusky, Ohio.
The winner of that match gets to bowl me, Kim Terrell-Kearney from Grand Prairie, Texas.
In the semifinal match, the winner of that one gets to face me, Missy Parkin, from Lake Forest, California.
In the championship match for the $20,000 prize and the tiara, the winner of that match will face me, Elysia from Ephrata, Pennsylvania.
And there you go, the classic stepladder final. So the winner moves up and keeps on moving up until we have Victor here in Syracuse. Now, I'll be joined in the booth tonight by a man who can prove you that skill and luck do happen to people in Vegas. Right there, Chris Barnes wins the World Championships and becomes one of only 6 bowlers ever to bowling's Triple Crown. I'm delighted to have the 13-time and many more, I'm sure, PBA champion with me. And we've already talked a bit about Kim and Wendy, but Missy Parkin, who you knew as Missy Bellender last year, our lone returning finalist from last year's show, has just shredded this house.
Well, and she has been exceptional so far in this tournament. What people forget is last year, when Kelly Kulick was on her amazing run, Missy was 1 mark away from eliminating her in this tournament. She left a pocket 7-10 to lose. She's looking for some redemption. You won't see all the smiles this time. She's looking to go after them.
Now, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi was going to be on our show anyway. She was supposed to be our side lane reporter. Well, she was too good for us, apparently. She bowled herself into the number 4 position. She's a veteran. This is her second Queens television show. And her presence in here, it's going to be interesting to see how she performs. It's been a little while since she's been on TV on that side.
Well, it has been a little while, and she's moved on in her professional life as well. But she's got a little less pressure on herself. She's used that to take some of that pressure and relax, and we'll see how that works for her against Wendy tonight.
So we went to her sister and asked, do you mind filling in while your sister's bowling? And Carolyn Doran-Ballard said, sure. I was going to watch anyway. I might as well be part of the show. She's standing by with our number 1 seed.
Thanks, Dave. Elysia, first off, great bowling this week. First major TV appearance. How are you going to battle the nerves tonight?
I really don't see it as being any nerves right now. I'm just going to take it as another tournament and, you know, just a lot of lights, a little bit cozier of a scene with a lot of people watching. That's about it.
Okay, are you using the same equipment or have things changed out there a little bit because of the TV lights?
Right now, still using the same equipment, but if it does have to change, then I know what I have to go to.
Excellent. Good luck. Dave, back to you.
All right, Carolyn, thank you. We're delighted to have you on the broadcast. Appreciate you filling in. Well, Chris, this has been, I think we've had some very high scores here. We're going to show everybody the lane pattern in a moment. But right now you're looking at Wendy MacPherson. What a distinguished career Wendy MacPherson has had. That 7 is not going to go anywhere. Well, what do you say? It's better now than in the 10th frame?
Well, it's better never, but pretty good opening shot here. And you watch the 5-pin go right in front of the 7, wiggle it, come back down, tap it again, but not knock it over. Really bad break in this opening shot of the opening match.
So Chris, take us through what the pattern's going to be for tonight's show.
Well, we're bowling on a 40-foot pattern. This is sport compliant, and as you watch the players go, most of the players played somewhere out in this area during the week. They're a little bit tighter right now, and so you'll see Wendy, she'll move in and play around the second, third arrow. It's been very slick for these girls. They've used a lot of surface to get the ball up to the head pin.
Shot. Come on.
And a ringing 10 for Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. It's funny, she has, in her last 2 years, 2009, 2010, didn't even win a match in match play, and then didn't compete in 2008, didn't even make match play in 2007. So this is a giant, this isn't just a small step, this is like leaping across the water for her.
I think sometimes when your expectations come down, your performance comes up. She didn't come in with real high expectations. She bowled very solid, and then when she really had to, she stepped up and bowled her best match of the tournament against her sister.
And we have matching open frames in decidedly different ways. One with one you can understand, one which was just a mistake there by Dorin-Lizzi. So, I mean, you bowl on TV what seems like 1,000 times, but I imagine you still get a little nervous early.
Yeah, there's no way to get around the nerves. Neither one of these girls have been on shows for a long time, even Wendy, who is much more in her competitive career right now.
And she'll have a quieter 10 pin this time. She's been pretty steady on that line so far, Chris. Has she made any changes the first couple of shots and how she got here?
No, not really. This is what she's done to get here so far. She's had to be somewhere around the 5th board using a lot of surface with a rain of fire, and that's given her some mid lane. When she can get her speed matched up and that gets through the pins, that's when she's been at her best.
Hey, by the way, you can talk to Chris Barnes yourself on the telecast tonight. You can connect with the USBC by becoming a fan of USBC on Facebook. So go to facebook.com and search USBC, then post your question for Chris and see if he answers it live on tonight's program. So Wendy MacPherson off of the 7-10 split, looking for a first strike in this match. First of 4 tonight to decide the USBC Queens. Pin stays up. Wendy in qualifying was just outstanding. 3rd place, 5th place, 3rd place, and then went 6-1 in match play. What are some of the keys to victory for her tonight, Chris?
Well, she has a couple of keys that she has. One is to find rhythm early, get her push away going, get shots on target, and she's come out pretty good that way. And the second one, she's keyed in by how she gets the ball in her swing. She gets it in too late and makes her drift left, and she'll miss the head pin right. So far, that hasn't been any kind of issue.
So we're even through the first couple of frames.
And that last shot was really a case of kind of good news, bad news, but it didn't strike, but it did make it back from a point further right in the lane than she expected and still hit the pocket. The lanes are tighter tonight. That means they're slicker. The balls are having more trouble getting traction and getting back up to the head pin than they saw in the later rounds of match play.
That's a tricky one. 2-8-10. And we've talked about this before. Virtually impossible to make this. But if you were going to try, how would you do it?
Well, if you were going to try, you'd slide the 2 into the 10 and across. This gets outside of that tracer by about 3 boards. It's about the 7th board. That's the furthest right Wendy has been in the entire tournament, I believe. Players pretty consistently have been struggling, though, through this practice session to get their ball to read the mid lane and consistently get through the pocket. I think the advantage really goes to Cathy because she's using more surface and she's more direct.
Looking for her 2nd professional title and her 1st major.
Push.
Crossed over, she'll take it. ESPNU's coverage of college baseball continues with SEC Thursday Night Baseball as the Kentucky Wildcats take on the LSU Tigers. It's college baseball on ESPNU Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, and coverage of college baseball live at 7 Eastern, or that game at 3 o'clock on Saturday as well. So college baseball on ESPNU in the Southeastern Conference. up and a double for Dorin-Lizzi.
Boy, this is a great break here. This got down the lane. It's the same thing we saw with Wendy. You watch this head pin gets back to the board, to the sidewall, comes back and cleans up the 4 and the 7. Excellent break. She was just hoping to get up to the pocket, turns it into a double.
You can see a definite difference in the pattern that she took that time on that throw and almost able to get the strike. So the veteran MacPherson, who won this title when she won the Triple Crown, the youngest woman at age 22 in women's bowling. She won the U.S. Women's Open at 18. So her years of experience and her remarkable record speak for itself. 7th time she's made this TV show. It's a pretty amazing record considering the format and how difficult it is to get it through this 3-game double elimination format. And should she overcome this deficit and go on to win it all tonight, she would be the first 4-time USBC Queens champion in the tournament's now 50-year run.
Really difficult road ahead of her. She's tried to get a little softer on that shot. It made a little bit better move and got closer, but still a flat 10. She's got to combine that slower speed, a little bit more side rotation, and get it to climb up through the pocket. She's used the same outburst throughout the entire match play. Yeah, somebody yelled out, "There it is," but I don't think that was Wendy. So she's got a 4.67, looking at more than likely her 3rd open frame in this match. You see here, last time it got out to about the 7th board. That's on the 9th board, but she'd moved right with her feet as well. It cuts through the heart. These players are struggling to adjust to this pattern as it's a little bit different tonight on TV. So now Dorin-Lizzi with an enormous opportunity here. 38 pin advantage. And here are her keys to victory, Chris, you've identified. Yeah, she needs to roll it as much as she can. Keeping her hand behind the ball, she tends to get around it. And the straighter she keeps her angles, the better. She gets going left to right, it's not going to get back up to the headband. And right through the nose, and she catches a break, just leaving that 3-6. So you want this one coming right at you here. This one's inside a target. Leaving only the 3-6, probably a pretty good break. The 3-6-10 makes that more difficult when you add the 9 in, and it's nearly impossible on this pattern. And no problem on that spare conversion. So the lead at 36. Cathy had an interesting path. We mentioned that she defeated her sister, which happened to be a Hall of Famer, but threw a roll of 703 in 3 games in order to do that. She also beat Michelle Feldman, who made the show last year on the Queens.
Push.
Through the nose again, Chris. What's the last 2 have gone through the nose? It's the same thing she's feeling that Wendy. She's having a hard time getting it back up to the head pin when she gets it going to the right. But now with all that surface, you get it going up the lane. It hooks early and right through the nose. She'll probably have to make a little 2 and 2 left. She doesn't want to open up her angles, but she needs to move everything parallel left so she can get it to the pocket.
Hit 2.
She did. So the folks at Star Lanes in Sandusky, Ohio are happy that one of their bosses is off to a good start. Cathy Dorin-Lizzi has a 34 pin advantage over the Hall of Famer Wendy MacPherson. The big difference in this match, Dorin-Lizzi has a double while Wendy MacPherson is without a strike. We're watching the USBC Queens. We'll see how this match wraps up. USBC Queens on ESPN, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. By Storm and its line of Storm bowling products. And the United States Bowling Congress. Join a USBC Sport League today. Well, we mentioned one of the reasons that Cathy Dorin-Lizzi was able to get to the show is she had to beat Carolyn Dorin Ballard, her sister, who's just one of the finest bowlers of all time. And Carolyn took the first match, in this Sister Act 3, as we were calling it yesterday. And there you see, but that was close. So, second game. And there's the line of success that Cathy used to win that game with a very handsome 234. So she had just a 6-pin lead going into the deciding game. And Cathy was on. Winds up winning that 703. By the way, 675, Chris, you would take any time, I think, in a 3-game set. And Carolyn, it wasn't like you bowled badly.
Well, no, as a matter of fact, I thought I bowled rather well. She just bowled better. I taught her everything she knows. So, I mean, I expected her eventually to beat me. So, no, she really got up there and made some really clutch shots when she needed to. And I couldn't be more proud of her tonight. And this is her moment. And I hope to be putting the tiara on her at the end of the night.
It may happen. She's got a comfortable lead of 34 pins. Thank you, Carolyn. And there is Cathy. And there is Wendy MacPherson, and she's just searching right now, Chris. I know you've been in this position where you just can't find a shot. You've had some time to think. What does she need to do?
Well, she dropped her ball speed down about a half a mile an hour, which I think is the right move. Now she can go ahead and move a little bit left and get that similar ball reaction she had that got her to this point.
You mean like that?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, show everybody the difference here from what was missing in those first 5 frames.
Well, again, earlier she was getting the ball out to about that spot, just right of that tracer, and it was not making it back. When she keeps it around the tracer, it's much better. And you can see she's exceptionally excited to finally have her first strike.
She was 6-1 in match play and averaged almost 232, including a 299 game. That looks like the 299 game we saw yesterday.
And that's the first sign we've seen of the Wendy that has got her all the way through the winners and then later the losers bracket to make this show.
She's a USBC Hall of Famer. 107th television appearance in her career and 20 professional titles, including 6 majors.
It's 24 pins, but Cathy has to make a move here. This is a huge shot in this match.
And she doubled in frames 3 and 4.
Come on.
Got that same ball reaction again.
This is the one she's looking for. Right up the 5th board, actually the 4th board, able to climb the hill. Headpin comes back, cleans up everything on the left. Great reaction. She knew she needed to send in a message back after Wendy doubled.
You know, that's a sparkling shirt. It would match that tiara pretty well. Of course, she got a lot of work to do to get to that point. Look out. And you see there, 2.5 board.
Yeah, that's a couple too far right. 4 was pushing it, and really she'd like to be around the 4.5 or 5th board. This one crosses 2.5 and gets all the way out to probably 1.5. Lucky to leave just the 1-2-4.
You could hear the breath go out of everybody in the house for a half a second there. But she's a pro and is able to cover it. Well, let's get an ITRC equipment report from Carolyn Dorin-Ballard. Carolyn?
Wendy started with a pin-up outburst with about a 2,000 surface. She said she was able to play further right than she did yesterday and on Monday. When she left the 2-8-10, the first thing she said to Dell during the break was, I think I need to parallel in. She went to an outburst with the lower pin to read the middle part of the lane, still with the 2,000 surface, and give her a smoother look on the back.
Hurry.
And leaves a sleeper back there. Dell, by the way, is a Dell Ballard Jr. who is here. And this one you could tell right away. You said it, got to hurry, and it didn't do it.
A little bit firm. Headpin goes around. Lucky that the 4 hits the 5 there to leave the 2-8, but still a difficult spare on this 40-foot sport condition.
26 pins. She's in the hole here. Made it look easy. And she is trying to leap past Millie Ignacio, who won 3 in the late 60s and early 70s. You see what Wendy has done. Her most recent title, 2007. Kelly Kulick, who was not able to defend her title, was knocked out, but she is here tonight. Linda Barnes, we know her well, has picked up 2 queens. The first one is an amateur, so that's a heck of a group to have. And Wendy MacPherson's trying to go to the top of that, but she is down 26 and running out of frames. There you see the maxes, and we're already in the 9th. That was a power shot right there. So just a little bit of heat, I guess, for Cathy here. Just a reminder that Wendy's still around.
Just a little bit. That was a huge miss there with the 2-8. She was a little bit firmer on that shot than she's been on the left lane, according to our Cats data here. And she's going to have to make a really good shot here in the 9th frame to put the pressure on and make Cathy show up.
Push.
Crossed again through the nose and a 3-6-10. She's caught. Is she getting a little lucky here? There's her husband, by the way, Jeff, who's made it. He's a former PBA Tour player and picked up a title. So he understands a little bit of the pressure that his wife is going through right now.
And this spare is no bargain. It's about a 7 out of 10.
And there's why. So now her max becomes 191, and she may need double 9 depending on what Wendy MacPherson does.
It's real simple. It's great strategy. She's using spare ball very end over end straight at it. It just slides by, and that's what makes it so hard in these sport patterns. There's no help out there. Now she knows she has to double and 9 to shut out Wendy.
Yep. That was a solid looking shot to me anyway. So her max is now 181, and all of a sudden Wendy MacPherson is sitting there with a tremendous opportunity if she can make a shot.
It's a really good adjustment here. She throws a good shot, very aggressive, exactly what you want to do in this situation. It just creeped a little bit high to leave the 4-pin.
Well, I know you bowlers like to call this next shot the fill ball, which to me seems like a throwaway line. This is no throwaway ball right here.
Absolutely not. She needs to get 8 or more here to force Wendy to throw the first 2 in the 10th.
Come on.
All right, 9 will do.
Did exactly what she needed to do there. Threw a good shot, was firm and aggressive with it again. Got it up to the pocket. That guaranteed Wendy having to throw 2 shots in the 10th.
I thought I had that 3-6-10.
And Wendy's success, she's only thrown 1 strike so far on this right lane.
That was in the 6th frame. That was her first strike of the match. She got off to a terrible start with 3 open frames in her first 5, but yet that's all she has to do. I said that's all she has to do, but that's what she has to do to advance to meet Kim Terrell-Kearney. Great chip and couldn't get a great break.
Wow. Watch the head pin as it goes to the wall there. It's going to go right here. Doesn't make it all the way back over.
Kind of went end over end instead of going into the 5 like it does so often. So.
And Wendy is one of the best all time at catching that hit. She has such strong ball roll. She gets that hit probably more than anyone.
Well, here's your match 1 winner, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. Now she takes on the Hall of Famer and a past Queens champion, Kim Terrell-Kearney, in our next match in Syracuse. She was supposed to be our side lane reporter, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi, but she's defeated the Hall of Famer, Wendy MacPherson. Her reward, another Hall of Famer. Eyeball with you. Winner left the door a little bit open for Wendy MacPherson, but she just couldn't deal with that right lane enough. Got a bad break also on her first ball in the 10th, and Cathy Dorin-Lizzi has moved on to face Kim Terrell-Kearney in our second match to decide the winner of the USBC Queens and the tiara. And by the way, many of these same women will all be gathering in Texas for what is going to be an unbelievable U.S. Women's Open. We're all excited to be heading to Texas in the summertime. Every year, the U.S. Women's Open provides us with some amazing moments. And there is a second U.S. Women's Open championship for Kelly Kulick on top of the Queens and the Men's Tournament of Champions. With fewer major women's events out there, the tournament has never been more important or more prestigious.
There's no better brand than the U.S. Open. Whether it's in golf or tennis or bowling, I mean, you hear the U.S. Open, you know that's the best of the best. So just being able to elevate the brand of bowling's U.S. Women's Open, to me, is a great opportunity that we have for our industry, and we're going to make the best out of it.
This year, there's an elite bowler helping to run the event. Stephanie Nation takes over as tournament coordinator and has found a new respect for the process, making her excited on a couple of different levels.
As a bowler, I never really knew how much preparation came into actually running a major event. So now that I'm on that side of things, being a part of this event from the beginning to the end has tremendously been an eye-opening experience, and I have a deeper appreciation for the events. But now's where the fun begins. I've been practicing during lunch, practicing after work, and I really want to be a part of the finals at Cowboy Stadium and make history and win my first major title.
That's right. The TV finals will be held on the field of the world's largest domed stadium, and with plenty of support from its very famous landlord.
We had the Cowboys excited about it. Jerry Jones was excited about it, and Jerry said, make it happen. So I think when Jerry says make it happen, things tend to happen, and he's going to be involved. He's going to roll out the first ball with us.
And this is no one-hit wonder. There's already talk of putting next year's finals outdoors under the big sign on the streets of Reno. And this year, how about $1 million bonus for a 300 game in the finals? There is no doubt the U.S. Women's Open is raising the bar. The dream is alive. She's done it. And we can't wait to bring that to you on ESPN2 Saturday, July the 2nd. Yeah, really, Cowboy Stadium, no fooling, at 6 o'clock Eastern. That is going to be a remarkable event. Kim Terrell-Kearney, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi about to battle for the opportunity to move up the step ladder in the USBC Queens to capture the tiara. Exciting match between a Hall of Famer and a Soar barbecue. Boy, just the smell as you walk in the place will get you every single time. Amazing. That may be where the after party is. Chris Barnes will be signing bottles of barbecue sauce and diet cream soda for you if you run into him there. Man, wonderful stuff. Now, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi has moved up the step ladder. As we mentioned, she's defeated one Hall of Famer. Now she gets another, Kim Terrell-Kearney, who has won the USBC Queens Championship. And that's what they're bowling for, that beautiful tiara there and that trophy. Oh, and a check for $20,000 doesn't hurt either. So here's Cathy. She'll open on the left lane. And right away, I can see a ball change.
Early ball change. She switched from Rain of Fire to a Marvel. Now also a low RG ball to help pick up. And she's let her move in and move left a little bit and get a little better angle through the pocket. Early on, that looks like a great move.
Kim Terrell-Kearney, after 5 games, was in 45th place in qualifying. She moved up steadily and went 4-1 on the match play portion. And that's a classic shot for her. That's the shot I saw for 2 days. Didn't get a break on the 10 pin.
A classic technician, perfect form. It's been this way for 20 years. Her game will last forever. The one thing she has to watch out for is if her hand rolls inside, she gets in trouble. This is perfect position going into the slide, and you can't finish it off any better than that.
3-time member of Team USA, now an assistant coach. And no problem with the 10 pin. She has 10 professional titles, 3 majors, was the Rookie of the Year in 1989 on the PWBA. And a Hall of Famer inducted last year. USBC Hall of Fame. I mean,
Such a great bowler, and I would say that even if she wasn't my coach. So,
oh, that's right. You have to be careful what you say here.
But she went through. She got 659, 663, 665, 685, and then lost with 638.
She lost to Missy Parkin. That was to set the ladder for the show. Pretty strong right there. 10 straight back.
Tremendous shot maker. She'll just be there all day long. She's not going to give you a match. You're going to have to go take it.
We'll see how Cathy Dorin-Lizzi responds. First ball, the ball change went perfectly. Probably the best looking shot of the night was their first ball in this match.
So we'll see if she can do the same thing on the other lane.
Wasn't satisfied with her footwork. She looked down at her shoes there for a second after the release, but she's able to get a break.
And it did look like she stuck just a little bit, got going a little bit forward just as she threw it. It got going to the right a little, but it was able to crawl back. This ball change looks like a great move for Cathy Dorin-Lizzi.
She has the 10 pin advantage off the double.
Come on.
Ooh, thought for a second that 7 pin was going to be victimized, but still a solid start here.
A very solid start. That ball looked just a touch firmer to me. Cat status says it was very close, though. I think it came off her hand just a little early. Gets down late. The head pin goes to the wall, takes out the 4, but doesn't get the 7. 17.8. 0.2 of a mile an hour faster than what she was on the right lane.
Now, how much of a difference does that make?
0.2 is really not very much. By professional standards, though, it's enough. It's the difference between striking and not.
Okay.
If you keep it within 0.2 on a regular basis, you're going to be pretty good. But ideally, you want to be probably less than a 1/10 difference between your best shots.
There for Kim Terrell-Kearney. Let's go to Carolyn for an ITRC Pro Shop Equipment report on what Kim has.
Kim drilled up a game breaker with the pin under her ring finger for the TV show. She used pin-up balls all week, but she felt she needed something for the TV pair. That's what she chose to start with, and it seems like it was a great idea.
All right, Carolyn, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I think the lane's being tighter and not as good to the right. Plays right into Kim's hands. I think she's probably the best shot maker in the stepladder final. And moving away from the gutter, nobody plays the track better than she does.
That is just strong. So Kim Terrell-Kearney. Now we talked about a classic delivery here. And why don't you show everybody this opportunity to take a look at her form.
Well, as you watch, the swing falls perfectly up and down the line here. So it doesn't get any better than that. Her balance is perfect. That back foot does not go way up in the air. She's able to keep it down. She stands on one foot. That's all day.
And again, Cathy Dorin-Lizzi looked down at her feet after she rolled, almost picked up the 7th pin there. So she's now a little bit more behind, only behind a dozen.
And again, 17.9, just a little bit firmer, not allowing her ball to make it all the way through and get through the pins.
Problem there, so excellent match here as we head to our 5th frame. Cathy in match play defeated Elysia Graham, April Ellis, Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, and Michelle Feldman. Now this is her first shot. And again, watch the, yep. There's the first shot of the 4th frame.
Come on.
And there she got a friend. 7-pin had been a pain for her in the last couple of frames, but this time, goodbye.
Watch the 5-pin get over there and just lean on it. Post this shot up, no problem with the footing on this lane.
Now I know you bowlers frequently change, all the bowlers will change balls during, change shoes a lot too?
You would change the soles and the heels on the shoes. They're fully adjustable, front, back. You can do lots of different things to adjust the approaches.
Or you could just keep throwing strikes and not have to worry about changing anything.
Well, one of the things about having such great footwork and great balance is you don't have to make as much adjustment. Watch, right foot crosses over, left foot fills the gap perfectly, right down the line. Mixes them up. The right lane is a little bit tighter. I've been told by Del Ballard, the Ebonite ball rep, that the right lane is a little tighter. Players are having a harder time getting the ball up the hill down lane. There's a little bit more oil down lane. This left lane is better for all of them. Right.
And there. Second time we've seen that combination of 2 and 8 tonight, but still, he had strung 4 straight strikes together.
And this one was a board right, almost 2 boards right of her best shot in the 10th. And you heard her say this one's in trouble. Cross the arrows at the 9th board. There you have it, right on the Cat's data. In the 4th frame, her perfect shot was at the 11th board.
20-pin lead.
Literally a game of inches. Interesting choice to use the spare ball here at double wood.
She attacks it.
Perfect
and
execution.
Makes it, yep. Well, she isn't your coach after all. You have to say that kind of thing. Kim Terrell-Kearney strings together 4 straight to take the early lead on Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. How do you make the 2 with a sleeper behind it? You attack it right in the face. Cathy Dorin-Lizzi and Kim Terrell-Kearney will wrap up their match. And who's going to play?
2011 Queens, I am sitting here with the famous and great bowler, Wendy MacPherson. Wendy, I got to tell you, I've bowled against you many a times. That's not the Wendy I usually see. You know, you're usually striking at will, lined up from the get-go. What happened out there tonight?
Carolyn, I'm very, very disappointed. I wasted 5 frames. I never saw it. I thought since the lanes were tighter, I needed to bump right a little bit. And then I made the move left and just need to keep it tight, and had a much better look towards the end of the game. I want to do it again. I worked so hard to get there, and not so good.
Well, you're throwing the ball great. You smushed me in match play, so I'm sure we're going to see you at the U.S. Open.
Maybe.
Oh,
maybe. It depends on if I head on back over to Japan or not.
Okay, well, great tournament anyway. You're one of the best. Nice to see you this week, and we'll see you in June.
Carolyn, thank you.
Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Wendy. I certainly hope she makes the trip to Texas. Although she has done very well in Japan. So here's Cathy Dorin-Lizzi, who, if she strikes, will cut the lead in half.
Push.
Didn't push quite enough through that nose again. So that was the problem that kind of plagued her a little bit at the end of match 1, although obviously she was able to advance.
She has made an adjustment, and she's moving in a little bit. Earlier she was around the 5th board. You see this one's crossing about the 8th board. This ball's giving her much more traction in the mid lane, but still goes high.
And she'll here to spare. All right, take us through where they're playing, their lines here, Chris.
You see two avenues of attack. You'll see Kim Terrell first. She's crossing right around the 11th board, playing the track area, what's considered the track area of the lane, a little more direct right at the 3-pin. Cathy's playing about an arrow right of that at the 7th board, trying to use that lane out there. The problem with this pattern is it's tighter right of 10 than it is left of 10.
Flip.
Yep, 10-pin, not responding to her wishes.
And that's really been the difference between these two players. They've both played really well, made great shots. Watch the 6-pin as it goes to the sideboard, does not get up and hit the 10. But Cathy's had to use more surface to get there. Her ball has hit a little bit flatter, where Kim has been able to use a smoother surface on those game breakers, and they've gone through the pins better, giving her about 10 pins a game advantage.
All right, she had missed one of those 10 pins in the first game, got away with it, and almost, as her husband Jeff, your beautiful daughter Elysia is also here. Husband Jeff looking on. Now Kim Terrell-Kearney, and I'm going to throw an analogy at you here in a moment. See, you and I are golfers. So let's see after Kim throws, and hopefully she throws a good shot. If this analogy makes sense. I think we have to hope that she's going to throw a good shot. What I see with this, Kim's mom, by the way, who is here, Joyce Terrell. Her husband Eric could not make it. He is still in Texas watching. I look at her and I see Freddie Couples demeanor and style. You know, the classic easygoing. It looks so easy when he does it, but you know.
I think that's a great analogy. She's smooth, she's rhythmic. Nothing looks like it's effort, but there's nothing but power when that ball hits the pins.
And they didn't call him Boom Boom for nothing. And I'm not going to call her Boom Boom Kearney, but she's on top form right now.
She has to go up by 31.
Yeah. Dialed in at the moment. The veteran lives in Grand Prairie, Texas. Her husband Eric works for the USBC as the diversity and education officer. Mom's happy, and Kim ought to be happy after this.
Watch the 6-pin right here as it goes to the wall. Leans on the 10. Great break. Her ball makes a much better move down lane. That would have been a flat 10 on the right lane. No problem on the left.
Cathy, who had the big lead, watched it get trimmed down in the first match, now has to cut into the 31 pin disadvantage. She's in and she leaves the 2.
Big trouble now. The most she can shoot is 226. Kim is already on a 238 pace. There you see the maxes. She is left with no choice but to try and strike out, and that's just to make Kim stay clean in the 9th and 10th.
Well, it was a big day for Cathy yesterday to qualify to make this show. She had to go through the great Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, her sister, to do it.
It's very hard. We knew it was going to be a tough match. Neither one of us wants to lose. We want the other one to win. She's the best bowler in the world, so it's very gratifying when you can beat her. I had a few breaks go my way. I've had a great week, and as tough as it is to watch her lose, I'm thrilled to be here.
And she earned it. There was nothing fluky about her victory. Shot over 700 in that 3-game set.
No, her highest set by almost 70 pins. She saved her best for her sister.
Push.
Got a break on that 9. It was stubborn. It was teetering, and the 4-pin made sure it went.
Excellent shot here. She doesn't really have any choice. Her ball hit flat when it got light before. Now watch the 4-pin as it goes over. And he knows that shot was big for her to have any chance.
Having been on the tour himself, but Kim Terrell-Kearney just seems like nothing is going wrong with her. Except that. Well, you talk about the announcer jinx right there, huh, partner?
Well, the only thing she really had to do was just go spare, and she had enough. Provided she gets one here, she'll have 2:04 in the 9th. That puts her on a 2:24 pace with strike spare in the 10th. Cathy can strike out for 2:26.
All right, so a little tension all of a sudden injected in this match.
We talked about that right lane being tighter. It's tighter down lane. This is a great shot. There's almost no difference between this shot and the one she threw on the left lane. But when the ball gets down in this area, it just pushes too far. The 5-pin goes in front of the 7 instead of into the 7. The 6-pin goes in the flat gutter instead of into the 10.
But she can still take care of business.
Controls her own destiny.
Ooh, a ringer on that. That was a good looking shot.
That is what Kim is all about. That's just great shot making when it matters the most. 2 really good ones.
All right, so if she pops this stubborn 10-pin and then strikes, here's the 224 that you talked about. And Cathy can strike out or go double 9 for the win. And we were talking about just assuming she was going to make that shot, which she did. We never even entered into our mind she'd ever miss that 10-pin.
No, but as we've seen this year, there's anything can happen. It's 99 out of 100, but
yeah, no, I know.
It seems like TV, you take everything, you times it by about 5.
Well, you got that right. Yeah, some drama on your tour this year for sure.
Very important shot here that forces Cathy to get 9 on her fill if she can throw the first 2.
But she threw 2 great shots there. I mean, there's nothing she can say. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sure she's disappointed, but a 223 is her score.
Where you see, watch the 6-pin right here. Right around the 10. That is just brutal. Those are 2 great shots. Cathy has not struck on this right lane since the 2nd frame.
And she has to.
Come on.
Russell.
Nope. 2-8 and 2 wobbling around. It's not going to fall back. So what was it about this right lane? You've talked about it being tighter. How did that affect Cathy?
Well, it's not only just tighter, but it's tighter further down lane. She's already has to use a lot of surface. So when it gets down to these tracers right there, it's having a hard time picking up and going through the pins. If that had been on the left lane, I think she could have got a mixer and had a chance to strike. Much like Wendy before, though, that's why the players are choosing to finish on the left lane when they get the choice.
So Kim Terrell-Kearney continues her pursuit for a 2nd USBC Queens Championship. Cathy Dorin-Lizzi was game, but now it's Terrell-Kearney and Missy Parkin for the right to bowl for the championship. 223-206 victory over Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. Terrell-Kearney moves on to take on Missy Parkin in our next match. So the USBC always tries to stay one step ahead in every aspect of the game. That includes coaching. You'll recognize somebody in this one. USBC coaching has a new face, literally. Carolyn Doran Ballard has taken over. She's bringing a new way of thinking to the department along with a new name.
Everybody had this philosophy that we coached, that we were on the lanes coaching. And that's not what the coaching department is. So we changed the name, and it's the USBC Coaching Certification and Development Department. And that's what we do. We help recertify and certify coaches, and we develop the tools to make the coaches the best they can be out in the field.
One big way to do that is through recertification. A huge push has begun to make sure coaches all over the country are up to date.
They might have gotten their certification in 1989 and haven't kept up. And a lot has happened over like the last 5 or 6 years. They haven't kept up. They're not really going to help us, and they're not going to help our bowlers. If you're a doctor or a lawyer, you have to keep up. You have to stay active and know what's going on. And so by making sure they keep up and they're active and they're good, and then starting a continuing education program after this, I think we're going to be in much better shape in the future.
And that future begins with kids.
Make sure you get your arm swing up and nice and smooth through, okay? There you go.
We've really kind of turned the corner and tried to get creative and introducing the game younger to players and making sure that they're having fun. And at the same time, if we can instruct them logically about how to get better at the game, then we will have done our job.
And it's an important job, one that just might shape the future of the sport. Well, it'll be Coach Kearney trying to get to that championship match. But to do that, she's got to face our number 2 qualifier, Missy Parkin. That's coming up next. And this is a beautiful building, but what does it take to put on a show like this and put on tournaments as the USBC does? Well, 44 days of construction, 42 tractor-trailer loads, 17,000 bowling pins, 5 miles of wiring. You could build 5 3-bedroom homes if you'd like. And by the way, some people may just do that because the lumber goes to Habitat for Humanity. Thanks to everyone on the technical crew and everybody who had to work on that for days and days and days and days and days here in Syracuse to make this look just beautiful. Now, Missy Parkin, the number 2 qualifier for the show. She comes out firing with that 16-pound ball, Chris, which in women's bowling makes her unique.
Very unique. She's basically the only women's player who uses 16 pounds and has for many, many years since she was a teenager.
Now you see Kim Terrell-Kearney's resume is very distinguished. She's 2 wins away from a 2nd USBC Queens. Well, that's the 10 back we saw in her previous match, her victory over Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. We showed it to you from up high. Just smooth, smooth, smooth.
And the biggest difference between this shot and the one in the 10th, she was 0.2 miles per hour slower, and that makes all the difference in that ball rolling through the pins versus a 710.
It's the second time that you've talked about 0.2 miles an hour. It reminds me of that Jerry Seinfeld joke between first and say it's over. Oh, you're second. Like that. Unbelievable. And that 4-pin getting beat on, but it's not going to go anywhere. So a 4-9 is what awaits Kim.
Well, this is the lane that does hook more past these tracers right here. Gets 2 boards right of it, but cuts through the heart. 2-pin to the sidewall, just around the 4. Pretty unfortunate. 4-pin would have been pretty understandable. The 4-9's a bad break. And we've been told by Del Ballard he put a little extra surface on that ball in between matches, which is allowed in this case. It's treated as a separate tournament from game to game. There's now 1,000 grit Avalon on that game breaker.
Hey, by the way, you know what's coming up tomorrow night? Every football fan does. The NFL Draft live in prime time from Radio City Music Hall. Join ESPN's All-Star lineup for the 3-day event beginning tomorrow night, Thursday, April 28th on ESPN at 8 Eastern, presented by Bud Light. And the 10-pin teases but does not drop. Now, you see Missy's demeanor here. Last year, she was smiling a lot. This year, she's vowed to be more serious in her approach.
Yes, and she's decided to be much more aggressive. You watch that 16-pound ball, and it almost is enough to tap out this 10. The person who figures out the right lane is going to win this match.
Now, maybe this memory is why she's not smiling so much this year. She needed a mark in the 10th frame to defeat Kelly Kulik. And here's what happened. Now, if you were Kelly, would you watch? Do you watch the other bowler in this situation?
I would watch in the 10th frame. Before that, it's kind of up to the individual, but you want to know now.
Light and bedposts. Well, just for a 1/10 of a second, I saw that 7-pin standing there. That would have been the all-time sports announcer jinx in history right there. And, of course, she's now Missy Parkin. You saw Missy Bellender on her shirt. She's now married to her husband, Drew Parkin, who's here.
And, again, we got to watch the 6-pin. This one right here just goes flat in the gutter and does not get out. That's what's called the flat 10. She's gone to a different ball. She's throwing a 900 global bank. She has not thrown this ball much during match play at all.
Oh, you heard her go, oh, geez. Yeah, now she's going to smile because she knows she got away with one. And by the way, we should tell you right up front, she is a terrific person, extremely nice, and wonderful to talk to. She doesn't want to smile much unless she wins. All right, now, Chris, we mentioned that what is important for Kim to win. Did she do that in game 2?
Absolutely. She had to roll it, which she did to get the ball to read the mid lane, and her speed control was excellent. Let her hit the pocket every single shot.
Down 11, and she gets the kick on the 10. Can we say she's figured out that right lane? Because she's struck on both times so far.
Well, her ball angle through the pins is much better than it was in game 1. I would say she has figured out. Now on this left lane, she 4-9'd. The typical move here is she's going to move one board left with her feet, one board left with her eyes to catch a little bit more oil in the front part of the lane, and that should be enough to give her a double.
So you're coaching the coach here, sort of.
Only because she can't hear me.
She should be able to pop that 10 pin down.
Yeah, second pin from the right. That's the key here. A little bit light, goes in the gutter. And what that tells me is that the amount of breakdown that's happening is happening in the first 15 feet of the lane. Last time she hit it, it made the ball pick up early and cut through, moves one left, and then it goes down the lane another extra 3 feet, which is enough to give her a flat 10.
And right down there to take care, cross lane, take the 10 pin out. So we'll get a look at Missy Parkin. She was an outstanding college bowler at Cal State Fullerton. She was the 2003 Collegiate Bowler of the Year. And what are her keys to victory?
Well, really, she has to match up her surface to the lane. She's been using 360 to 500 most of the time because she can get around it. And she's also changing her personality. She decided to use some of that tiger that she has inside instead of the happy-go-lucky girl that we've seen in our last couple shows.
And there's her husband, Drew, right there. Drafted by the Seattle Mariners at one point in his life. And Carolyn, let's get an ITRC Pro Shop Equipment report on what Missy brought with her to the show tonight.
Well, like Chris had mentioned earlier, she's using the bank by 900 Global. She has used aggressive bowling balls all week, but the biggest factor for Missy to be successful, Drew told me, was she has to be aggressive herself. She has to make the ball do what it needs to do, and so far it looks pretty good.
She has bowled brilliantly all week and just powerful. You know, she's a slight build, and she is so strong.
She uses a lot of upper body motion. She uses a big shoulder turn and a high backswing. She has to bowl a lot of games to get that all timed up, and that's exactly what she does. She puts in the time and quality practice. She knows what her keys are to be successful.
Down 21. The Hall of Fame. Started that out maybe a little far right than planned.
Just a little bit right at the arrows, but not much. A tenth of a mile an hour faster than the one that was in the third frame. Good enough to strike, certainly, but on that right lane, your speed control has to be excellent, just a little bit firm, leaving the 7 pin.
No problem to cover that. Kim in qualifying in the match play defeated Jamie Martin in the first round, then got to Kari Watson, and they were tied at 663. They had to roll an extra game, and Kim tossed a 236 to advance. Then Deandra Asbady, pardon me, then Wendy MacPherson, and then lost to Missy. And in the positional round for the show, which gave Kim the number 3 seed because she had match play pinfall advantage over Cathy Dorin-Lizzi.
Down 22, has to get started right now.
Well, I expected more out of that. I thought we were going to get a lot of reaction there on the pins. Instead, she stuck with a 2-5. It's like a high shot, Chris, and we show the classic form of Kim Terrell-Kearney.
Well, as you watch her feet, she goes a little bit left with that third step, and then it's just straight down the line. Each step fills the last one. Perfect balance. Her head rarely ever moves.
Out of the pocket on that spare. So Kim Terrell-Kearney is down 24. Mom would like to see some more strikes. So would Kim. Right now, Missy Parkin, with this newfound determination and aggressiveness, has the advantage. They're trying to get to the finals to take on the top seed Elysia Current and become a USBC Queens champion.
That's right. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Welcome back to the 2011 Queens. I'm just sitting here with, unfortunately, Cathy, Dorin-Lizzi, and we were chit-chatting about her bowling. Cathy, sorry that you're sitting here. I was rooting for you. But the 10th frame, you had a chance to win the match. You needed to get up and double. Looked like you threw a pretty good shot. What was going through your head?
I was excited. I looked forward to it. Once I got through the first match, which was a little bit of a miracle, I got my swing and my feet going. I felt great, and I thought I threw it a lot better. I adjusted, I switched balls, and when I looked up and I saw I had a strikeout in the 10th, I was looking forward to it, and I thought I threw it decent. But I think I have to make TV more often than every 10 years.
Okay, well, you had a great week. I'm very proud of you. Thanks. We'll see you at the U.S. Open.
I'll be there.
Back to you, Dave and Chris.
See, that should have been your Chris Martin's key to victory. Make the show more than once a decade.
She threw it pretty good, and she made some pretty good adjustments and gave it a shot there at the end. That's all you can ask for. You would like to have an opportunity to win a match.
Now strike now for a 34-pin lead for Parkin if she can triple. Since I know not many of you were here in Syracuse Thursday and Friday, that's what Missy Parkin has looked like for 2 straight days. Just pure power and dialed in.
Watch this shot here. She's not worried about speed control and throwing it soft. She's throwing it firmer than anyone else in the tournament, using more surface, right up 12, freezing it on the 3-pin, and letting all that axis rotation tip it through the pins.
Well, too much barbecue. I mean Monday and Tuesday, not Thursday and Friday. We haven't gotten there yet, but you get the idea.
First shot of the break, her firmest shot of the game.
And that's not easy to do, is it? I mean, again, I call on your experience. You take those breaks, things will happen on TV. You sit, you get a little cold, and then to roll 2 in a row like that is impressive.
Possibly the toughest shot to make in professional bowling on TV is that first one out of the break when you sit for 3.5 minutes, music going on, all kinds of things that can change your tempo and your adrenaline level.
So Kim Terrell-Kearney, she knows what she's up against. And that's how you respond. That's exactly how you respond.
She's not done yet, I guarantee you. She can still shoot 225. You can watch this right down the line. Lays it down on 12, goes out to the 8th board. Perfect strike.
Well, neither player bothered by the break. Both have plenty of televised experience, though.
No strikes yet on this left lane.
And you called it 4, 6, and 7. All right, explain to me how 2 lanes that are within a foot of each other can be so different in personality.
Well, there's a lot of things that can happen. As you watch this shot, it picks up in the front. She's moved back to the right on that shot. And instead of pushing and being left to right, as it gets down to those tracers, it's already faced up the lane. That extra tilt makes her 4, 6. All of her problems on that left lane happened in the first 20 feet.
And that look says it all. So Missy Parkin, who has a commanding advantage. She's already bested her previous Queens finish. That one got away from her a little bit, but it didn't hurt her.
she'll be happy to get another shot at that lane in the 10th frame and try and get comfortable for the championship match.
Now, Missy Parkin has had some success and won 2 PBA regional titles. She's actually the first woman PBA member, but doesn't have a major on her resume.
So it is hard to say what might have happened had she not 7-10 against Kelly in that match.
All right, she wins the match. We don't get Kelly winning not only the Tournament of Champions on the men's tour, but she won the Queens. Then she won the U.S. Open in Arlington, Texas last year for a remarkable triple. And you're right. Missy Parkin, then Missy Bellander, caught a horrible break. We showed it to you earlier. And you never know. Her max is 248. She won't need all of that, of course, to advance.
And there's that smile we've seen before, and it's easier to smile with a 50-pin lead and 2 pins to go. That officially shuts out Coach Kearney.
And now is she going to take it out on the team now? You're going to have to run sprints or something?
We'll find out in 10 days, I guess, when we go to Guadalajara for the American Zones.
So Kim Terrell-Kearney, the number 3 seed qualifying for the show, finishes in 3rd place. Missy Parkin has a chance to win her first major. She's going up against Elysia Current, who also doesn't have a major. Can't wait to see how this one turns out. Work that in. We can get a shot of it. Yeah. Oh. Well, there you go. Sports history right there in Syracuse. You've had NBA teams here. You've had incredible horse show jumping, all this part of the On-Center complex. There's been our home the last couple of days. The Convention Center, the On-Center here. And there's the combination of what makes the On-Center, and it's a special place. That's right. They were NBA champions. The 24-second shot clock was born in Syracuse. The War Memorial Arena has a history also of bowling, and the Convention Center had the 1999 tournament. So here we are. This is where we started with the opening match. Wendy MacPherson and Cathy Dorin-Lizzi. That was Dorin-Lizzi by a dozen, and Kim Terrell-Kearney stopped Dorin-Lizzi's run. Missy Parkin defeated Kim Terrell-Kearney for the 2nd time in 2 days, and now here we go. The number 1 seed, Elysia Current, and the number 2, Missy Parkin, with a chance to win the first major championship of their careers. It's going to happen in front of your eyes in mere moments. Current versus Parkin. This could be an explosive finale. Syracuse, New York, upstate. And we're delighted to be here. Thanks to everybody in Syracuse, by the way, who's just treated us as guests, honored guests, and we've been very, very happy to be here. That's what awaits the champion of the USBC Queens, that beautiful tiara. And we are inside the On-Center complex in downtown Syracuse. That trophy and a $20,000 check will go to either Missy Parkin, whom you're looking at there, or Elysia Current, who was the number 1 qualifier for the show. And neither one has won a women's major before. So, Chris, you've been in a position, you had to win your first sometime. What's going through your mind now? You're a match away from a major title.
It's really clearing out all the distractions and all the other things going on and focusing on just the task at hand.
And that's probably the least best shot that we saw from Missy, who had no opens and 7 strikes in that first game and defeating Kim Terrell-Kearney.
Yeah, she bowled a very, very good opening game. And we saw very few shots go anywhere else. One thing you have to watch out for in Missy's game, she has a high backswing, and it can get even higher when her head follows her push away and she gets too far forward. That will cause her to spray the ball. Otherwise, for a power player, very accurate.
235 in that first game. And very accurate there. Her match play average was 221.5. But Elysia Current, I mentioned at the top of the show that Missy Parkin had shredded this house. I don't know what to say about Elysia Current and the way she has just dominated the times.
Nobody had better ball reaction, and nobody did more with it than Elysia did through match play.
6-0 in match play. Like that, and a 228 average. She had some sets that were silly. 706, 721, 756. Shannon O'Keefe threw a 724 at her, and it wasn't even close.
No, she answered the bell the few times that people challenged her. they got harder at the end, you would think, well, that'll be the end. And she ground through those matches and was able to persevere and become the top seed for this Queens title.
Cross, 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 cross.
She was asking for the Brooklyn, and she got it. That's the first time I've seen her hit a Brooklyn, even cross the head pin in a couple of days.
You'll see this shot. Her first shot was at 13. That was almost at 15, and she knew right away, being that far left on the lane that hooks more, she needed some help. Fortunately, her hand rolled over the top of it a little bit, gave her a little extra tilt, and was able to get all the way across.
Oh, ringer on that 10 pin.
Oh, she even spun the 10 around a little bit.
Wow. Folks back in Saddleback Lanes over there in California not going to be happy with that lead. Of course, you know, Missy could be a little tired. She and her husband had a rude awakening at their hotel when a fire alarm went off around 4 a.m. And it turns out there was smoke coming from a faulty air conditioner. I'll tell you more here in a second. So when her husband opened the door, as they started to evacuate the room, smoke rushed in. So he said, hey, Missy, we got to get out of here. Take what's valuable. So she took a couple of things. He says, no. She goes, I got to take some bowling clothes. And she grabbed some bowling clothes, and then they left and had to wait about 90 minutes to get back in their room. Still not getting a break on the 10.
She liked that shot there, and she should have. That was a very, very well executed shot. This ball sawed through the pins in match 1. This time the 6-pin goes and lays in the flat gutter and doesn't slap the 10 out. Now she has some decisions to make. Does she try and catch it more? Do you move a little left and throw it slower? Missy's move generally has not been to throw it slower. She'll get more aggressive with her hand and make it strike.
Now, earlier in the broadcast, we offered up an opportunity for you to ask Chris Barnes a question on Facebook, and here it is, Chris. How do you personally calm the nerves in the finals if you get behind what goes through your mind? And thanks and congratulations to Cody Scott of Portland, Indiana.
Well, breathing is a good start, but mostly it's simplifying things. There's lots of distractions here, focusing only on the task at hand and reminding myself I've bowled thousands of shots. Just throw one more.
Now that looked like you practicing earlier today.
Well, practice sometimes makes perfect. We'll see, but this is what Elysia's done time and time again. Early leads, big shots early, getting out to an advantage by throwing lots of strikes.
Yeah, she has been an excellent front runner. That's exactly what's happening here in pursuit of her first major championship. This is her first television show as a professional.
Her collegiate yellow and black from Wichita State.
That is a problem. 4, 6, and 7.
Things have a way of evening themselves out, and she got a break with that first one going Brooklyn and carrying for a 3-bagger. This time she pays the price, cuts right through the nose. The 2 and 3 both go to the flat gutters for the 4, 6, 7. Gonna have to make an adjustment on this left lane.
That's about as much emotion as you'll get out of Elysia. She is a soft-spoken person from Ephrata, Pennsylvania. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Southeastern section of the Keystone State. I mentioned Wichita State. She was a national champion there in 2007. And wasn't Missy the MVP of the intercollegiate team championships on the men's side?
On the men's side.
Amazing.
Watch that tournament in Tulsa. She earned it too. She was carrying her team all the way through. Gave them a shot at a national title.
That's how you do it, and that's what I like about this competition. Somebody makes a mistake, somebody takes advantage of it, and it goes in any sport, and Missy certainly did that there.
Makes a little bit of an adjustment here. This one is high flush, no doubt. 10 straight back, and that error by Elysia has given what nobody really wants to do, given Missy a chance to throw a double to take the lead.
Now she would lead by 3 if she can go back to back. Beat him up. Got it. And she's in the lead.
She mentioned that 7-10 as kind of a catalyst for her. She thought she was leaving a lot of them. Her carry wasn't so good, so she made some changes. Back in December, she started on a release change to roll it more, decided that wasn't enough, so she changed some pitches. Not as much reverse, and she increased the length of her ring finger to allow her to roll it more, and it's paying off now.
And for the third or fourth time tonight, we see a 2-8 left. And Alicia's got something to think about here, and you NFL draft fans, you know what's coming up. In prime time, live from Radio City Music Hall, join ESPN's All-Star lineup for the 3-day event beginning Thursday the 28th, tomorrow night on ESPN at 8 Eastern, presented by Bud Light. Always fun. Smashes right through that. So she opens up, bang, 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 a turkey, and then suddenly she goes open and nearly had a disaster there in the fifth frame. And there's Stu Upson, the executive director of the USBC on the right. Darlene Baker, the president of the USBC, right there. Great to have them there. They're going to get to hand out a couple things at the end of the show to the champion. Some valuable cash and prizes.
Hit it!
Wow, you heard her say good shot.
Yeah, the first one she's really thrown on that left lane, and early on it looked like the left lane was the easier of the two. Missy actually chose to finish on the right lane. Now watch the head pin here as it comes across. It's going to go to the wall, back across, does a pirouette, a flip.
Did everything but do what she just did there and wiped out the 10 pin. So it's appropriate. We've got a close match between the top two seeds in our stepladder finals to decide who's going for the first time to take the tiara home. Missy Parkin or Elysia Current. We'll get the answer when we return.
I'm sitting here with Kim Terrell-Kearney. Kim, great bowling this week. Your reaction looked like it changed a little bit in that second match. What happened out there?
Yeah, I think, Cathy was further right of me, so I was kind of I was definitely left of her and didn't have much play over there. And I think when Missy came out, she had a duller ball, and I lost my hold, and I like hold.
Me too. Now, life's changed a little bit. You finally reached another one of your goals, assistant Team USA coach. How's that?
It's been great. I've been involved with the youth program for years, but being with the adult men and women, it's an honor and a great opportunity to work with the best players in the world. So, I'm just every day I'm learning more and more about coaching and the game.
Congratulations. Back to you, Chris.
Well, and speaking of coaching, somebody who helps me on the tour, Ebonite ball rep Del Ballard, will listen as he talks with Elysia. A few tips in there in the break, trying to help her get lined up as she's been a little bit confused on that left lane, and then her last shot on the right lane went by the head pin. She's going to have to get lined up very quickly. Missy, I don't think, is going to give her much room to breathe.
Now, let's remember what happened. And you said the toughest ball to throw was the one after the break. Well, in her previous match, in beating Kim Terrell-Kearney, she doubled, did Missy Parkin, coming off the break. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
How is that possible? You're the physicist among the group here. How is that possible?
Well, technically the shot's light, but if you watch the 5-pin going in front, it actually spins the 7-pin just a little bit. Look right from above. Ball's just inside of her head. She gets it squared back up with her shoulders right over the tracer down lane, and the 5-pin right in front wobbles it twice, but these brand new pins, those bottoms are not very rounded yet, just won't topple over.
She didn't even want to see that 7-pin get hit. She knew she had it. So tight match here, just a 3-pin lead. And again, Missy Parkin and Elysia Current, neither one with a women's major. They both had great successes in college, particularly.
And again, Missy's firmest shot of the whole game is the first one out of the break. 19.2. It's about the same speed I threw it.
It's a lot of focus to pull that off. That's a beauty. 10-pin the last to fall.
Pretty good one there.
That's her husband, Drew. And by the way, that sweatshirt is all he's worn. I mean, other clothes, pants, I mean, too. But that's been the lucky sweatshirt for days here in Syracuse. Just saying.
It's a good thing it's not hot.
No, no, we've had some probably typical Syracuse weather. Little bit high there and busted up to 4-9. Now, you mentioned Elysia is trying to get her first women's major, but she's been on television before. 2007, there she is, the anchor bowler for the Shockers of Wichita State. Hometown advantage bowling in Wichita there. They've had a remarkable men's and women's program, which you well know as a Shocker alum. So the match remains close. Current just 4 pins down.
A little bit of an adjustment there. That ball was just a little bit inside, only about a half a board from the one that 2-8'd. So she's moved her feet a little bit to square up on that right lane. Using a 500 grit 250K.
And how about it this time? There you go. Keep knocking. Somebody will answer.
Well, you don't see too many messengers in the women's game, especially when the lanes are this tight.
That's mom and dad right there. They look more nervous than their daughter.
Watch the head pin. Go to the wall, out of the picture, back into the screen. Again, kind of flips around, does the other thing, and hits it with a foot.
Strike to go plus 14.
Get up.
Sounded like me after I hit my wedge short of the green. Get up already. And she leaves the 2.
Lost this one off her hand just a little bit. The cat status shows that the rev rate's down about 50 points from her shot on the left lane. Target wise, really not too bad. Speed still firm, but right within her range. Just doesn't pick up. That's what'll happen to her when she gets a little bit too far forward. Her swing gets steep and you'll miss it at the bottom.
Numbers on the single pin spares. Parkin in her second game of the night. That's why she has bowled more. She's requested a re-rack. Her max 237. Current's max 233. Hey, again, coming up tomorrow night live from Radio City Music Hall in prime time. Join ESPN's All-Star lineup for the 3-day event. 8 o'clock Thursday, April 28th on ESPN, presented by Bud Light. Who's going to be number 1? Will it be Cam Newton, as so many people think the Carolina Panthers will go with him? Or do they surprise everybody?
I think that's a mistake.
Well, they may trade that pick, too.
Jimmy Clausen is going to develop. No quarterback's great in his first year.
Rams fans might disagree with you. That Sam Bradford didn't do too bad. Oh, sort of a combination flat and ringing 10-pin there. Husband Drew got out of his seat to punch that one home, and it didn't happen. And this match just gets a little bit closer.
Great shot here. The cat status shows this as 0.2 miles an hour faster than the last one, and this time it does not get through the pins. Despite Drew and his lucky sweatshirt throwing everything they have at it.
All right.
Still with a 3-pin lead, though. Elysia Current with a strike up. An opportunity to take the lead here. And really, she's got it in her own hands. All you can ask for. Strike in the 9th, strike in the 10th. Give her an opportunity to shut Parkin out.
She has closed well in every match in this tournament.
Gotta hurry.
Oh, man. 1, 2, 4, and 10. Mom can't watch.
Well, she's on a strike here. She's not really hurt by that by itself. As long as she makes it, she still has a chance. This one's just right of target the whole way. She's made a move left. She 4-pinned. She moved left with her feet again. Hits the same target, but it goes by. She meant to move her feet 1 left, move her eyes 1 left with it. Push.
And right right in front of the 10.
Pretty unlucky there. This is awful. You want to see that head pin go here and come off right in front of the 10 pin. And now she has to strike out for 201.
Went through the nose.
How quickly the match turns. One shot away from taking the lead and an opportunity to shut her out. Now in this left lane, which hooks more. Shot goes high. The last shot goes right. The natural reaction on the next one is to not throw it there again. She double crosses herself for the 3-6-10.
Kicks it aside. And now the best she can do is a 191. So Missy Parkin.
8 on her first ball, provided current strikes. And Missy will need 8 to win the title.
And she will not strike. Well, what did Missy learn last year? So close to winning this championship, and she couldn't quite do it.
I definitely learned that I needed to tweak some things in my game. I've definitely in the past had some issues with carry, and so I went back home and I tweaked my grip a little bit. So I changed my grip, which I think has changed my release, and I also worked on my release. And I think the combination of the two has definitely helped my carry.
There's the smile we've been waiting for. She's waited a year for this moment, a year of, I'm sure there were times that 7-10 split against Kelly Kulick haunted her. She's thought about it a lot, and she has now erased that memory, and instead she'll replace it with a tiara.
Fantastic performance from start to finish in this tournament. All the way through match play. Bowling fantastic, throwing big shots when she needed to, and did it again here.
Well, she may be up till 4 a.m. celebrating this time instead of being awakened by a fire alarm in the hotel. The issue becomes, what happens to the sweatshirt? Does that just now go on? Will we see that sweatshirt at the U.S. Open? Washed, I hope?
Let's hope so.
I do think the sweatshirt's got to follow. There she is. The crowd is on their feet, and deservedly so, for your 2011 champion with a 214. Missy Parkin wins her first major.
Hi, Mom, Dad. 900 Global, #1.
And you are too, Missy. So Missy Parkin had to win 2 matches to get to the top, and she did, defeating the #1 qualifier for the show, Elysia Current. She bowled spectacularly all week, and she gets the beautiful trophy and the tiara and the $20,000. Your 2011 Queens champion from Lake Forest, California, Missy Parkin. Her first major championship, she did it in style, defeating a Hall of Famer and the #1 qualifier for our show. We'll meet her in a moment. The final score in our final match, Missy Parkin going out in style with a victory over the #1 qualifier, Elysia Current. And there's a lot, when you win the USBC Queens, a lot to receive, a beautiful pendant. And most importantly, and here's our champion from last year, 2010, Kelly Kulick, to bring out the tiara that is so very, very important for the champion here.
Princess and Queen.
Thank you, Kelly, very much. But there's more. I almost feel like Bob Barker here, because Darlene Baker, president of the USBC, has a lovely trophy that I'm sure you'll put in your carry-on bag.
Missy, great bowling all week, especially tonight. I'm very pleased to present this to you in recognition of your award tonight.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, there's the smile we've been waiting for all night. But That aggressiveness and that focus you talked about, I mean, how much did that really help you tonight?
I think it helped me a lot, just to stay in the moment and not get ahead of myself, take it one shot at a time, and really just focus on what needed to be done in order to get things done and win.
We talked quite a bit on the telecast about what happened last year with the 7-10. How much did that help you tonight, maybe in realizing that breaks sometimes go against you or for you? How much did you use that as motivation?
That was definitely motivation. I mean, it was heartbreaking for me last year with what happened, but it also made me work harder to be where I'm at this year. And so I really put a lot of time in and worked on my game, and I think it paid off.
Well, Chris, outstanding. Her performance all during the week was outstanding, and she closed with a flourish.
It was an exceptional performance. Now, most players today had trouble in this right lane, and with it being tighter down lane, you chose to finish on it. Why was that?
Well, for me, it was, I had them a little different, but not too different, and I actually had a little bit of tug, so it was okay that it was tighter for me.
With that firmer speed and those grip changes you talked about, you think that was any part of your success today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think all the changes that I've been making to my game over the last few months definitely helped to make me win this tournament.
Well, congratulations on a great performance.
Well, here's the, you know what, I know she bowled great and all that, but we know the real reason she won, don't you? Come on out, Drew. Come on, man. Yeah, you can talk about rev rate, patterns, thumb roll, whatever. It's the sweatshirt that did it. He didn't take this off for 3 days. But obviously, you're pretty happy.
Oh, extremely happy. She's an amazing talent and an exceptional woman. I'm just so proud of her.
I think the biggest issue that came up also, I'm sure we'll see you both at the U.S. Open in Texas. Are you going to wash that shirt before then?
Absolutely not.
Oh, no. No,
yes, he is. Yeah. Yes, he is. I'm going to make him.
That's what I thought. Chris, any last thoughts on this remarkable Queens?
Well, what do you think? Do you like your chances at the U.S. Open?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the next main event for us. It's going to be a historic event for women's bowling, and definitely gearing up for that one.
All right, congratulations. There she is, the 2011 USBC Queens winner, and she really earned it, Missy Parkin. Folks back in California are very, very happy with her performance, and they should be. For information on upcoming tournaments, log on to the official website of bowling. And be sure to join us Sunday, May 15th at 2 p.m. for the 2011 Intercollegiate Championships from AMF Peach Lanes in Columbus, Georgia.